Good afternoon everyone. I am Kiranmai, working as social teacher in BC Welfare. So today I would like to discuss with you all about national movement and its various phases. So we all know that Indian national movement is a very widespread movement which ran into so many decades, and there are so many important movements, agitations that we all should know in detail. So to speak broadly, national movement was spread into three categories. So that is first phase, so that is known as moderate era. So that is from 1885 to 1905, and the second movement is known as extremist era. So that is from 1905 to 1920, and the third one, which is known as Gandhain era, that is from 1920 to 1947. Or till the time we get independence. So these are the main important three phases of Indian national movement. So what is the important thing that happened in 1885? So there is one important association which is formed in the year 1885, that is known as Indian National Congress. So we can also call it as INC. In 1885, INC was started. What is the need for this association to start? Because till that time there are so many associations, area wise, locality wise, state wise, there are so many associations in India, but there was not a single association which can cover the entire nation as a whole. So at that time national leaders felt a very need that an association should be formed immediately which can cover up all the entire nation and which can address the issues which are suffered by the people. So that's the reason this INC was started in the year of 1885. So 1885 December 28, INC was formed. So what is the place? It started at Bombay. And who was the first president of INC? W.C. Banerjee. So from that time onwards, every year INC summit was held in India in different locations. Second INC, third INC, fourth INC, like that. Every year one INC meeting was held in different parts of the country. So that's the reason we call this as moderate era from 1885 to 1905, because at that time national movement was taken up by people who believe in protesting, who believe in requesting, pleading Britishers in order to get the freedom, because they were not at all believing in violence. They were quite against to this violence philosophy, because they used to believe that if we want to get developed, we definitely need Britishers' help, because they are the people who are having most sophisticated technology and they are very much developed. So as a country which is still in progressing mode, if we want to develop, we definitely should need their assistance. So that was the thing which these people used to believe. So that's the reason we call this as moderate era. So next era, that is from 1905 to 1920, we call it as extremist era, because during that period we found so many Indian leaders, Indian young leaders who strictly believed in one policy, that is, we should not bow our head in front of Britishers, because this is our country. Why should we plead them to go out of our country? So we can only get independence by protesting against them, not by pleading in front of them. So that's what the philosophy which these people used to believe. That's the reason we call this era as extremist era. And the third one, that is known as Gandhian era, because so this is the most important era of Indian national freedom movement, because one great national freedom fighter known as Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who came to India in the year of 1915. From that time onwards, he was very much participating in all national movements. Before that, where was he? He was in South Africa. He was fighting there for South African, like Indian movements there. He was fighting in support of the Indian people there who were suffering in South Africa. But in 1915 he came to India. So that's the reason we call this era as Gandhian era. And there are so many agitations, there are so many movements which are taken up by Gandhiji. Gandhiji was a person who strictly believed in non-violence policy. He was never ever encouraging violence in his movement. And so there are few movements that we would like to discuss today in this session. The first movement that Gandhi took up in India is Champaran movement. Champaran movement. So this is the first movement which he carried in India, that is in the year of 1917. And where was the place where it was being taken up? As we have discussed, Gandhi came to India in the year of 1915. But as and when he came to India, immediately he did not participate in any event in India, because first of all he wanted to know the situations and conditions in India, because till that time he was not in India, he was in South Africa. Though he know many things about India, but he wanted to personally roam around and he wanted to personally know the situations and the conditions of Indian people. So that's the reason he started roaming in different parts of India. So personally he wanted to visit people and personally he wanted to know the situations in India. So the very first movement that he had taken up in India was Champaran movement, and that happened in the year of 1917. So where is this Champaran? So Champaran is in North Bihar. In Bihar. Champaran. So what was the issue there? There was a system which was prevailing there, is known as Panchkatiya, which means 5/20% of the land Britishers wanted Indians to cultivate indigo plants. And what are these indigo plants? Indigo plants are used in textile industries. Britishers used to cultivate these indigo plants in India, and from India they were getting them exported to foreign countries, like to their place where they were manufacturing, where they were using these indigo plants into their textile industries. So but later they reduced it to 3/20%. So we call this system as Teen Katiya. So from Panchkatiya to they reduced it to 3%. So by 3/20% of the land, these Britishers wanted Indians to raise indigo plants. But Indians were quite opposite to this policy, because they wanted to raise agricultural plants, like they wanted to raise rice, paddy, wheat, all these plants. But these Britishers were forcing them a lot. They were not able to understand what to do. So one person known as Rajkumar Shukla from this Champaran place, he invited Gandhi, because he came to know about Gandhi and his various victories that he had achieved in South Africa. So he invited Gandhi to come to Champaran. On his request, Gandhi came to Champaran and he started protesting British people in support of these Indian people, Champaran people. So Britishers took this up very seriously and they put this issue in court, saying that Gandhi is doing everything to suppress British policies. What happened? This Champaran magistrate, judicial magistrate, ordered Gandhiji to immediately leave Champaran and go away from that place. But Gandhi did not listen to this order. So finally he had to go to court, and 2,000 people along with Gandhiji attended the court. In court finally listened to all this matter, and they came to one conclusion that this system has to be changed. the system has to be changed because he was having a majority of support. So finally there was one committee which was set up to get into the various matters with regard to this policy, and in that committee Gandhiji was also a member. So finally, after listening to all the things, court abolished this Teen Katiya system. So finally, this was the first victory of Gandhi which happened in India. So from that moment onwards, there were n number of movements where he participated and he achieved victories, one after other. After the Champaran success, there are few other movements which were taken up by Gandhiji. So one of such important movement is Gujarat movement. So that happened in the year of 1918. So there are especially two movements that we can talk about. First one is Kheda, which happened in Gujarat. This is especially peasants movements. And the other one is Ahmedabad mill workers movements. These two movements happened in the year of 1918. So this is the place that we are going to talk about in Gujarat, Kheda. So here what happened, there were lot of epidemics and famines at that point of time in Gujarat, and especially peasants, they were not able to pay land revenue and taxes. Almost 17,000 people died during these epidemics, but British government, actually at that point of time British Raj was under the control of Bombay Presidency. So what are these presidencies? That is a different topic. At that point of time, actually India was divided into few princely states and few presidencies like that. So there are like Bombay Presidency and Madras Presidency, next United Central Province, next United Province, like that. And there are some places which are under the control of princes, Indian princes, and they were indirectly under the control of British Raj. So that is a different topic. So now we are discussing here the Kheda movement which happened at Gujarat, Kheda. Especially what happened at that point of time was Indian peasants, they were not able to pay the land revenue, taxes, because of the epidemics and because of the famines which happened at that point of time. And Britishers, they did not show any mercy and they wanted these peasants to pay the taxes more. Means British government increased the taxes there. But finally what happened, these peasants filed a case. They filed a petition requesting British government to reduce the taxes. So finally these are the local leaders at that point of time: Narahari Parikh, Mohanlal Pandya and Ravi Shankar Vyas. So these are the famous local leaders at Kheda at that point of time. They heard about Gandhiji and they invited Gandhiji to support them in their agitations. But at that time Gandhi was in Champaran, so he could not come here. Instead what he has done is he has directed Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel to go there and to fight on his behalf. So this movement was taken up by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, but we can say that this is also a Gandhiji movement. So Gandhiji was indirectly taking part here with the help of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So after this agitation, finally British government reduced the taxes. After the Champaran success, we were discussing about other movements which were carried out by Gandhiji. So these are movements which happened in Gujarat, 1918, Kheda and Ahmedabad movements. In Kheda, so that was the peasants movement we have already discussed, and this is mill workers movement. So this also happened in Ahmedabad. So at that point of time, prices were increasing drastically, and the people who are working in this mill, they were not able to live their life according to the standards of that time. So they requested British government to increase their salaries. They requested, these mill workers requested British government to increase their salaries and also pay 50% of the salary as bonus to them. They strictly told if their demands are not met, they will not come to the factory and they will not work there. So finally British government, they did not accept to any of such demands, and they directly told them that if you are not coming, we don't have any problem, we can get some other workers from other places. So finally these people went on strike. These people wanted to protest against British government. So one Anasuya Sarabai Ben, she heard about Gandhiji and she requested Gandhiji to come to this place and to support them on this event. So Gandhiji came there and Gandhiji was supporting them in this event. British government, they strictly denied to their demands. They were not interested to increase the salary and increase the bonus also. So finally Gandhiji went on hunger strike on 1918 March 15th. By that time few people quit the movement because they came to the conclusion that whatever they do, British government is not going to accept their demands. So it is best to them so that they can quit the movement in between itself. At least they will have their jobs. But after Gandhiji started hunger strike on March 15th, all the people who quit the movement, they also came back and supported Gandhiji. So finally British government had to come down and they declared to give 35% bonus instead of 50%. So this is also one more victory which we can credit to Gandhiji's account. So like Champaran, he has achieved the victory. Also in Gujarat in 1918, in these two movements also he has achieved the victory. So there is one more important act which we are going to discuss now, that is known as the Rasool Act. According to this act, British government can arrest any individual without even any warrant. So it happened in the year of 1919 on April 6th, Rasool Act. At that point of time, Viceroy in India is Lord Chelmsford. He is from 1916 to 1921. So this act happened 1919 April 6. So this act is also known as Black Act. It means they can arrest any individual without any warrant. Indians were not allowed to form as associations. They were not allowed to discuss anything openly. So that's the reason Indian leaders called this act as Black Act. So people wanted to discuss so many things without giving intimation to the British government. So many Indians gathered at Punjab. Place is Amritsar. Park name is Jallianwala Bagh. So this is the park where all these people gathered. So there was one of the festivals also, their festival, Sikh festival, that is Baisakhi. So they told that they were discussing about their festival, but they were discussing about this act only, Rasool Act. So this is the place, Jallianwala Bagh. It is like 3 sides complete wall and there is only one entrance from where people can go out and people can enter into the park. All these people were sitting there and they were discussing about the acts which were made by the British government. There is one wall here in between the park. So they were discussing about the issue. Finally, General O. Dyer, he came to know about this issue. So finally, along with his commissioner, here there are 2 people involved. One is General O. Dyer and Punjab Commissioner, Punjab Police Commissioner Michael O. Dyer. And these people came to this place and they started shooting then and there itself. So people were not able to understand what do they do, because there is only one entrance from which they can go out. So they could not go out immediately, and so many people died there, and so many people just jumped into the wall. They died then and there itself, and few people could escape from there, and most of the people have been killed then and there itself. almost 379 people died in this incident. And there one small boy was also there. His name was Udham Singh. He was just 7 years old. He attended this park along with his mother. So during that shoot and sight order, his mother died there, keeping this boy in her lap. So he could not protect his mother. His mother died there. So he could not forget that moment, and he day by day he increased that revolution in his mind. While going to school and coming back from school, he used to go in front of this park only. So daily he used to remember those incidents, that his mother had died in this incident. So finally, when he grew up, he wanted to kill the person who was whole and soul responsible for this act. So after this incident, British government, they felt responsible, and they have sent General O. Dyer to London. They have sent this person to London, though they did not consider this thing as wrong, because they strictly told Indians not to gather and not to discuss anything. But people did not listen to them, and they have gathered there and they started discussing things. So that's the reason British government, they did not took it seriously, but they have sent this person out of India and they have sent him to London. So finally, when this person Udham Singh, when he grew up, when he was around 40 years, he went to London to kill this person, General O. Dyer, because he was responsible for his mother's death. When he went to London, he already came to know that General O. Dyer was already died. So finally, he killed this person, Michael O. Dyer, a police commissioner of Punjab, when this Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened. So this was a very pathetic situation. Almost 379 people, innocent people, killed in this massacre. And after this incident, Gandhiji has left his award which he has got from British government, Kaiser-e-Hind. Kaiser-e-Hind. So this was the reward which British government has given to Gandhi, Kaiser-e-Hind. He completely left this award. And Rabindranath Tagore also, he left his knighthood award. Rabindranath Tagore was given knighthood award by British government. So he also left this award. So finally, after this incident, British government appointed one commission on this massacre. That commission is known as Hunter Commission. Hunter Commission. This commission is known as Hunter Commission. But Indian leaders felt, they treated this commission as a whitewash, because they felt that there is no mere use with this commission, because whatever could happen has already happened, and there are so many innocent people died, because of which these two Indian leaders have left their awards which they have received from British government. So finally, after this commission, they just felt it as a whitewash, because it is of no use at all. So this is one of the very traumatic, pathetic massacre which happened in Indian history. So now we are going to discuss about one important movement, that is known as Khilafat movement, which happened in the year of 1919. So this is the movement which happened with the togetherness of two religions, that is Hindus and Muslims. So after these agitations, Britishers could get terrified by the unity that Hindus and Muslims are having in common in India, because Britishers were always in the opinion that whenever they want, they can break the unity in India by taking the support of religion. But after this event, Britishers could really get terrified, because they could understand the unity. If in terms of difficulty and in terms of any situation, they understood one thing very clearly, that Muslims and Hindus can be united when it seriously needed. So we'll come to this movement now. It happened in the year of 1919. So as after the First World War started in the year of 1914 and it ended in the year of 1918. So after this, this happened between two powers. So one is Allied powers and the other one is Axis powers, two important powers. So Allied powers are France, Great Britain, United States and Russia. And the Axis powers are Germany, Italy, Japan and Ottoman, and there are some other empires, like Ottoman was an empire, so there were so many, there were little other empires also involved at that time. So basically it happened between two powers, Allied powers versus Axis powers. So finally this Allied powers, they won in the First World War. So these people had to taste the defeat. So finally what happened after the defeat of the First World War, this Ottoman Empire, so this is the place where this Khilafat movement was started. So after the defeat of the First World War, this British government have completely confiscated the Ottoman crown, because in Turkey their religion head was known as Khalifa. So this British government has confiscated the Khalifa crown after the First World War. So British government completely denied the powers of Khalifa in Turkey. So what happened finally? There the Muslims started protestation against the British government, because to these Muslims their religion matters a lot. So when they confiscated this Khalifa crown, they started this agitation in Turkey. So finally this movement has been spreaded to India, because in India also there are so many Muslims. This Khalifa movement started in Turkey, and from Turkey it is spreaded into India. So the Indian leader who has given his fullest support to this movement is Gandhiji. He has given his complete support to this Khilafat movement, because according to him both are same, Hindus and Muslims. He never had any he never had any biasism towards Hindus, and he never neglected Muslims. So to him both are equal. So he is the person who has supported this movement a lot. And who supported him in this movement is Shaukat Ali, Muhammad Ali, Sayyid Ali and Rahmat Ali. So these are the four people who supported Gandhiji in this movement. Who are they? Shaukat Ali, Muhammad Ali, Sayyid Ali and Rahmat Ali. So later when India got separated, Pakistan, this name was suggested by Rahmat Ali. Pakistan name was suggested by Rahmat Ali later when Pakistan got separated from India after independence. So this is one of the important movement where both Hindus and Muslims, they got united and they fought against British government. So this is also known as Khilafat movement. This started at Turkey and this is spread to India later on. So far we have discussed about Gandhiji's agitations in India, right from Champaran movement, Kheda. Next we have discussed about Rasool Act and Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and also we discussed about Khilafat movement. So now we are going to discuss about Montane Cromwell reforms, so which happened in the year of 1919. So what are these reforms? So actually India was forced to take participation in First World War on behalf of British, because Indians were never interested to take participation in First World War, because we were nowhere concerned with the war. First of all, we are frustrated by the British government. They are harassing us. Why would we take part in the First World War on behalf of them? We were just literally forced to take participation in the First World War. But what we expected, maybe after the First World War, Britishers will leave us and go to their own country. We might get independence after the end of the First World War. That's what the anticipation of the Indian freedom fighters. But there was no other alternative. They had to take participation in the First World War. So after the First World War, what happened? So these Secretary of State for India was Edwin Montane at that time. So he was the responsible person in Indian affairs. So Viceroy, he stays in London. So at that point of time, Viceroy is Lord Chelmsford. His time period is from 1916 to 1921. These two people are directly or indirectly responsible into the Indian affairs. So this person wholly takes care of the Indian affairs. He is known as the Secretary of State India. So that is Edwin Montane. He has to work under the instructions of the Viceroy. So Viceroy was the Lord Chelmsford. So according to these Montane Chelmsford reforms, so this name is also given after these two people, actually, Edwin Montane and Lord Chelmsford. So that's the reason we call these reforms as Montane Chelmsford reforms. So according to these reforms, Britishers, they said they will not leave India and go. Instead, they have implemented diarchy in Indian system. Diarchy. What do you mean by diarchy? It means dual government. Dual government. So there are some powers which are directly under the control of central government, and there are few powers which are transferred to state governments, central government and state governments. As we have now today, we also have like central government powers and state government powers now. So we have state government and also central government now. So this formula has been delivered from this Montane Chelmsford reforms. Whatever we have now, we have taken it from Montane Chelmsford reforms. So diarchy was implemented in India, central government and state government, and they didn't leave India, but they increased the provincial government. They increased the provincial government because Indians were given chance to take part in elections, because before that Indians were not given that. We were given, but they have increased the legislatures, Indian people legislatures, from where Indians can participate in the elections, like that. So Indian provincial legislatures were increased. So that is the only thing that Indians got after these Montane Chelmsford reforms. So nothing more than that. So that's what we have discussed in today's session. So we'll discuss about some other issues in the next session when we meet again. Thank you all.